Okay, on a 2-on-1, the first thing we want to talk about is the defenseman's responsibility. When he's retreating on this 2-on-1, he wants to stay lined up on that short side post line. And his job is to cut the pass. And we're going to talk when Josh gets in the net about some communication things. It's 2-on-1, obviously 2 attackers on 1 defenseman. And let's watch what happens here if Goose over challenges. He comes out too far to me, and then all of a sudden we got a backdoor option, and you're not going to have a chance. Although Goose finds a way to make a great save either way. So when we got a 2-on-1, it's an odd man rush. We got to make sure we don't over challenge the puck carrier. So at all costs, the defenseman's job, like I said, stay on that inside short side post line, and he's got to get the pass. So if we come down here, I try to pass, he's got to get it and break it up. One thing we don't want to do, sometimes goalies stay very deep in the blue crease. And what happens on the 2-on-1, the goalie gets too deep. Instead of trying that pass, the guy tries to shoot and score. So optimal positioning on a 2-on-1, somewhere here in the white ice. All right, guys, one thing we want to do when we're on the 2-on-1 is be a vocal communicator. And you'll hear this at NHL, junior, and college games. As the 2-on-1 odd man rush develops, the goalie, even at the pro level, is still reminding the defenseman of his responsibility. So let's watch a couple 2-on-1, see what happens here. So as the play develops in the neutral zone, goalie needs to look to see if there's any backside pressure and then read accordingly. Let's try a couple more. Here we go. And the one thing we can't do sometimes as a defenseman, you don't want your defenseman to come off this short side angle and go over too far to this guy. So on this one, we'll demonstrate you going to him and creating a lane for me. So in a 2-on-1, he can't get too far over there because now I can bring it in myself and do the shot. So the defenseman's got to stay on this line. Let's try 2 more, and let's try to score on this. Okay, last one. All right, here we go.
What's the story with Travis Riggin? Well, I've known Travis for probably 2 years. He reached out to me, wanted to do some private lessons, and I said sure. So we brought him in, put him up in one of my lakefront homes that I own, and we fed him and took care of him. And over that period of time, about a year, I probably worked with him on the ice a total of 15 hours. Number one, love the kid, great filmmaker, and he's got what we look for as a scout, size. But we look for 2 other things as NHL scouts. We look for size, athleticism, and competitiveness. Now, Trav is a super competitive guy, and he's getting better on his athleticism. I talked to him several times in our journey together on the areas of his game that he had to work on, to develop, to fix, to make him able to play at the pro level where he wants to play. And as you follow right now, he's playing around in Sweden, and it sounds like he's off to a good start. But I hadn't talked to him for about a year, and here's why. He took all my advice on the ice. He worked with several goalie coaches that I recommended, so he had a wide breadth of knowledge. But I said, Trav, if you want to be a professional athlete, you have to stop the filmmaking. Now, don't get me wrong. I know he's an amazing filmmaker, and I know everybody loves to watch his channel. The problem is, it's a distraction. It's not a full buy-in to hockey. And as an NHL goalie coach, I love working with athletes that are fully bought in. And in Trav's case, he's 99% hockey, 1% filmmaking. Putting GoPros up, wondering about his mics, how it looks, the angles. I know what goes into making these videos, and he does an exceptional job. And I also understand why he wants to keep doing the filmmaking, Based on his subscribers, he's probably making about $5,000 to $6,000 a month with sponsorships and everything included. So that's not something to laugh at. That's a decent amount of money for a young kid. Doesn't make any money playing hockey, but he certainly makes money at the YouTube thing. So I understand why there is the resistance and the reluctance to stop doing the YouTube channel. But at the end of the day, teammates at the pro level, teammates at those levels do not want a guy filming stuff. They don't know what's going to be on. They don't know what they're going to hear on the camera. And in today's society, the last thing they want is to say something on camera that comes back to bite them in the butt. So one thing I think is important to understand is when we're dealing with a professional athlete or who wants to be a professional athlete, they have to be fully bought in and fully have to commit to being an athlete. And that, in a nutshell, is the reason why I haven't had an ongoing relationship with Trav. I specifically, in a detailed way, said, you have to stop filming if you want to be a professional athlete. Now, I could open up doors in the SPHL, ECHL, if his game developed and he had some stats, etc., but I could never sell them on a guy that wanted to film. It's not going to work. So at the end of the day, Trav's going to keep playing around the hockey that he's playing right now for probably another year or two, kicking around, making great content, great videos, and I love the kid. But at some point, this is going to end. He won't be playing any higher than he is now, not because he's not a great kid, not because he's not a great filmmaker, but because at the highest levels, they're very old school. They don't like the social media, and they don't like the cameras in the room when you're trying to make the NHL and the highest levels. Best of luck to you, Trav.